Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today, I would like to talk about the case of Nicola Bulley, who was reported missing on the 27th of January at 9:15. That was the first timeline given by Superintendent Sally Riley. The timeline was 9:15 that Nicola was last seen at the River Tor Park near Garston Road, and we are aware, and we've got that confirmed from the police themselves, that there are blind spots there. That is the reason Nicola's friends and community is appealing for the proper, if anyone has proper dash cams of Nicola being seen after she drove her children to the primary school, parked her car. Nicola was supposed to have walked down from from the school near Blackpool Lane, and then she walked down Garston Road, and the bridge area to the River Tor Park does not have cameras, so I believe that is the blind spot that they're most interested in. So let's listen to what Superintendent Sally Riley has to say, and this is strictly for entertainment purpose only. Thank you.
15 a.m. She was last seen walking her small brown dog on the towpath of the River Wire. The dog was found about an hour later, as was her mobile phone. So her family are very concerned, as are we. We've mounted a really intensive operation to try and find Nicola, including a number of specialist officers from our Northwest Underwater Regional Search Unit and specialist investigators who are supporting the family, as well as a lot of partners like Bowland Mountain Rescue, Lancashire Fire and Rescue and others, and the Coast Guard. We thank them very much, as well as local people who've turned out in force, who are obviously equally concerned for Nicola. And we appeal for anyone who may have been driving through the village of St Michael's last Friday morning at about 9:15, or who may have dash cam footage that could be of use to us, or people who may have been dog walking in the area or on the towpath to come forward. They can ring 101, or if they have a sighting of Nicola, 999. Thank you. Happy to take questions.
Do you know if Nicola was driving? Are you looking for a vehicle at all? Like when she got to this area?
No, Nicola was last seen on foot.
Right.
Nicola is described, for those who are in the area, as slight build, 5'3" tall. She was wearing a black gilet jacket, dark trousers and short green wellies. Mobile phone was found on a bench near the riverbank. No, the dog was loose and the dog was between the river and the bench.
Are you searching any other areas apart from obviously near the footpath and the riverbanks? Is there any other areas, and this is in the local vicinity that you're checking? Or?
We've searched an extensive area along the riverbank out of St Michael's, so that we're being really thorough. You can probably hear the helicopter in the distance. That has been up and about since Nicola went missing on Friday.
Nowhere outside?
Nowhere outside of this area, yes, this locality.
What kind of things have you been using in search, like the helicopter?
Yeah, we've been using our police helicopter, our regional helicopter. We've been using underwater search officers. We've got specialist search advisors who've been advising on the area to physically search. We've got a number of officers out on the ground physically searching this rural area, and of course the members of the public have been helping as well.
Was the what?
Well, the police keeping a really open mind about what could have happened, but we do believe that that the likelihood is that Nicola's gone missing.
Superintendent Sally Riley said clearly they were keeping an open mind, but Nicola has gone missing. She did not mention that Nicola fell in the river. And this is 1 week later. This was the Friday after Nicola went missing, or a couple of days later. So the theory and the hypothesis wasn't that Nicola fell in the water, but it was Nicola was missing. This is the second interview with Superintendent Sally Riley. I believe this interview is actually earlier than the other one, but I'm still not sure. But it's around the same days, so pay attention to this one.
Information will be taken seriously and looked into.
I was just going to ask you when you remain as confident.
Nicola went missing on Friday the 27th of January. She was last seen at 9:10 in the upper fields of the Riverside area, and she was with her dog. Her phone and her dog were found at around 9:33 that morning, and Nicola has not been seen since. Now, I can understand that for local people this is extremely distressing and worrying for them, that it may cause anxiety. However, what I would say is that there is an enormous police investigation into this missing person inquiry. Around 40 detectives are working under a senior investigating officer, looking at every possible line of inquiry, including CCTV, house-to-house, an officer, looking at every possible line of inquiry, including CCTV, house-to-house, tracing witnesses, looking at around 700 vehicles that have passed through the village that day, tracing all of those witnesses and trying to get dashcam footage. In addition to that, around half a dozen police divers continue to search the river, but we're also aided in that search by a number of partners, like Fire and Rescue and the Lancaster Area Search and Rescue team, to whom I'm very grateful. So, to the local community, I would say, please, if you have dashcam footage relating to that journey on Friday the 27th, get in touch. We have a new email inbox, Nicola Bulley Investigation at lancashire.police.uk, and all information will be taken seriously and looked into.
I was just going to ask you when you remain as confident as ever that there is no third-party involvement in this case at all.
I do, Tony, because our investigation has looked at so many potential lines of inquiry, particularly the CCTV bordering that stretch of river. Now, Allotment Lane and Roan Water Caravan Park have been discounted as areas that Nicola could have used to leave the path. That only leaves us Garstang Lane. Now, of course, we remain fully open to anything that may have happened to her, and any information is being checked out. But at this time, our belief is that this is a missing person inquiry.
So the third-party involvement that's suggested by the boss of SGI, mentioned about the phone possibly being left on the bench as a decoy, that's something that isn't really relevant to the inquiry, or is that a factor in any way?
Nicola's phone was found on the bench, but there could be so many explanations for that. Nicola may have left it momentarily, particularly as she was on a Teams call from 9:01 that morning, until the Teams call ended, albeit she remained dialed in at 9:30. She could have left the phone on the bench to go and deal with something involving the dog. It does not mean anything suspicious in itself. And the fact that other witnesses have not seen anyone suspicious in the area, and that we haven't picked up anyone suspicious either on our systems or on CCTV, does lead us to believe it remains a missing person inquiry.
You mentioned there are 40 detectives working on the case specifically. What about the number in general with uniform officers and experts, searchers and everything like that? Is there a number on
It's around 60. It's around 60 because there are many neighbourhood policing officers, including the police officers themselves and the PCSOs who remain in the area. There are a number of supervisors who come down to the scene. There are obviously the police divers and the searchers of the physical search area of the riverbank. So about 60 in total. But if we need more, we will call upon them. at the moment the senior investigation officer is happy with those number of inquiries, but we'll keep it under constant review.
Do you mind me just asking two more questions? The area around the bench, it wasn't kind of isolated and protected at first. I mean, is that something that is regretted at all, or was that the right thing to do at the time?
Well, this is a beautiful rural area, isn't it? And to be able to fence off every hazard would be practically impossible for an area that people come to on their holidays. They walk their dogs, they enjoy leisure time, local people. So I think that would be a very difficult task.
Which is where she came with the dog and the kids, dropped them off at school. And then we're going to walk along the road, just to give you an overview, walk along the road, walk down by the river, and then from there we are going to walk around the fields and try to get an idea of what might have happened. So that happened at exactly 8:40.
Yep, 8:40.
From
right
here,
now.
what happened?
So Nicola came, parked up her car here. She dropped off her kids at school. She would have taken her dog Willow out of the car park, as she normally did, and walked her along this path next to the car park of the tennis club and the school, and along the school
Spin round if
as
you
well.
want to have a look rather than, yeah, there we go. So,
And this is a very normal route for Nicola. Almost every single morning, this is exactly what she would have done. Her kids coming to the school to our left as well. And this is a busy road. Inskip down there is where the family home is, so she would have come down this road and then onto the road up there, a very busy main road, Blackpool.
This is Blackpool Road?
Yeah, Blackpool Lane it is, yeah. And the police have stressed about Blackpool Lane because there are hundreds of cars.
700 vehicles.
Yeah, that would have passed through that morning. And so they are clear, they want to try and speak to every single one of those drivers to get as much dash cam footage as they possibly can to try and piece together what exactly has gone on. So she would have crossed this road and would have walked down this path, which heads up to not only the bridge which she crossed, but in fact the church which she would have passed. And she would have come up here to this iron bridge, which again has been another real focal point of the last 3 weeks. Look at all these beautiful ribbons, daffodils that have been tied up with of the last 3 weeks. Look at all these beautiful ribbons, daffodils that have been tied up with messages. Nicola's partner came down here leaving a message on one of them as well. And as we just go a bit forward, we get to the other side of the bridge and essentially the start of the path which is next to the river. This is the path that runs along the river wire, and it was 8:43 this time.
This is when she
right now,
first
3
hit
weeks
this,
ago.
so,
There
you
she
know,
arrived.
quite a pace she was walking at, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, we walked, and she's got a dog with her, probably the dog, running a bit ahead of her. You're a dog
first
walker
time we've seen
yourself.
the river wire there.
Over 2 weeks before that morning, she had a visit from police because of concerns for welfare.
Yeah,
It's a
we
big
know that a
question.
medical team went to the home on the 17th
Yeah.
of January, and
Yeah.
they haven't told us anything more than that, but we do know that the police have referred themselves to the complaints committee as a direct result of.
And we do know that on the 17th of January, when the police went to Nicola and her partner's house, the police clearly said no arrest was made in this incident. So the question is, how many times has police been to their house, and has arrests been made before in other incidents? Why would the police mention that?
Around this time, roughly, about 8:50, that Nicola was then spotted by another dog walker.
Yeah.
Someone who knew her, walking around the lower field with their dog as well. The two dogs actually interacted before the other dog walker went off and took the...
How come we hear about the witnesses and that the two dogs, Nicola's dog and the witness's dog, interacted and they were playing around and all that? How come we hear about all that but not from the police? We hear that from the mainstream. How come the Lancashire police hasn't mentioned that Ron is an important witness? We found out Ron, luckily, through Sky News. He walked there by mistake.
The dog Willow. So very shortly, she would have just been finishing her email off, which goes to her boss.
Yeah.
And
so she's looking at the dog, she's making sure the dog's all right, you know, from my own experience, you keep an eye on them, but you're doing other things as well. The sheep across the way there, just obviously keeping an eye on what's going on. And then she sends the email.
Yeah, at 8:53, police say, right now, 3 weeks ago, Nicola hit send, and an email was sent to her boss.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning our way, we are retracing the steps of Nicola Bulley. 3 weeks ago today, it's 9 o'clock, and she would have been on a Teams call about now. Yes, of Nicola Bulley. 3 weeks ago today, it's 9 o'clock, and she would have been on a Teams call about now.
Yeah, it was about a minute's time or so. She logged into that Teams call. I imagine the meeting started at 9 o'clock. Nicola logged in about 1 minute past 9.
Yeah.
She would have held the
Still
phone
on
out
this
to her.
path?
Yeah. She was just walking along this upper field here.
Yeah.
She would have held the phone out in front of her. Sorry, police said, and that's where.
That's what you do, isn't it? When
You've got it on speaker.
Yeah.
You hold it out in front of you.
Yeah.
And she wasn't talking. She wasn't on video. It was
Her
just
pace
simply,
would have been slower here because she was listening to what was being said.
Yeah, and again, you know, as I mentioned, her dad said in relation to work, she was in good spirits. She just, as a mortgage advisor, had just got a deal through, so she was happy about that.
Yes, Nicola's father did actually say that Nicola was happy with the work. Another thing that I found out from Nicola Bulley is Mortgage Advisory Facebook. I found out that Nicola was last on her Facebook, which she seemed to be off and on, talking about her daily routines, talking about selling insurance, life insurance, mortgage advisory, insurance. And she was very active on that account, but that account stopped not being active. I wouldn't say that. It's still active, but the last message Nicola, the last post she sent out from that account was on the 18th of January. Isn't that strange? Sorry, let me repeat myself. The last time Nicola was on a mortgage advisory account in her Facebook was on the 18th of January. I found that very strange, because the person would usually be doing their normal routines and structure. And Nicola used to work from home and she used to work online. Could something have happened allegedly before the 27th? Between the 18th and the 27th, allegedly?
Know something, someone's got to know something. She can't be in the room.
If you were in and around the area of St Michael's on Wire, did you see anything? Do you have any dash cam, any footage of just driving through the centre of the village? Please get in touch with the police. You may think it's not important, but let the police decide that.
The river, obviously trying to find some answers. Of course, the people most desperate for those answers are Nicola's friends and family. A little bit earlier on, I spoke with one of Nicola's friends, Jill Peck. This is what she had to say.
I mean, there are no words really. It's one of the situations throughout life you don't want to have to live through. And we are so grateful to the SGI team and obviously the police who are working closely with them and the community and just working tirelessly really to try and find out what's happened to Nikki. It's an emotional roller coaster for sure. We need to keep, more than ever as a family and as friends, we're keeping hope. We're trying our best to stay positive. We want to bring Nikki home. Her two little girls need her. They're desperate for her back, to cuddle them in at night. And obviously, we just need some answers. We need factual facts. We need evidence. Anyone that's out there that feels they may have dashcam footage. There's a section of road that we're missing, Geistang Road towards St Michael's, and we just need some answers.
This is from the Lancashire local news, or more like reporter channel. So let's listen to their timeline.
Said that right from the start, and at first we thought perhaps they were just trying to prevent a panic in the local area, but it does look like they have ruled that out, and they obviously must have some reason. We have no idea what that is. Yesterday they were back at the banks of the river once again. This time they've taped the whole area off, which they actually hadn't done earlier, and they've had the divers back in the river with the underwater drones and that sort of thing, and they've had all the specialist searchers back again, and they've been combing the area and the riverbanks in the area. So that leads to believe they do think there's been an accident, though apparently there's no real evidence to say that. But it's been very wet, the weather's been very inclement. It would be very difficult, I think, to be able to tell. The weather's been very inclement. It would be very difficult, I think, to be able to tell. It just seems to be at the moment. They certainly, yesterday afternoon, they issued a CCTV image of a dog walker who they wanted to talk to, a second witness, and they have identified and spoken to that person. But as of this morning, there doesn't appear to be any sign of Nicola or any new information.
Extraordinary that the dog was still there, the phone was still on a Zoom call, still connected to a Zoom call. I mean, the implication from police, as you say, a missing persons inquiry at the moment, but that in itself doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Like I mentioned it before, notice how many channels, main news stream channels, was saying that the police said it was a missing report at the start. And we heard that from Superintendent Sally Riley. So when did it become from a missing person's case to she fell in the river?
On the morning of the 27th of January.
Her family are very concerned, as are we.
My whole focus is on two girls, just staying as strong as I can for them.
Knowing that her two little girls are at home missing mummy, and knowing that mummy is missing, is what's driving us forward.
We've mounted a really intensive operation to try and find Nicola, and we appeal for anyone to come forward. Our main working hypothesis is that Nicola has sadly fallen into the river.
It's now been 5 nights. Police do say that they are keeping an open mind.
We are just trying to hold on to the hope.
It just can't make sense that this is actually happening, and here we are.
The parents of the missing Lancashire mother, Nicola Bulley, say they fear that someone has taken their daughter.
The investigation is focusing on a 10-minute window between 10 and 20 past 9 that's unaccounted for.
Somebody could have put the phone on the bench. Somebody could have found it and put it on the bench, just on the nearest bench. We don't know. Nobody knows. This is a complete mystery, this whole thing.
This afternoon, CCTV pictures were released from the day she disappeared. Detectives revealed Miss Bulley was vulnerable, classed as high risk, and disclosed her issues with alcohol, linked to struggles with the menopause.
I still feel so sorry for them that it's been released this way. It should never have come out. They could have just told us on the quiet. It's not the police, it's just the comms piece where whoever's made these decisions needs to answer lots of questions.
It just seems absolutely impossible. Every single scenario comes to a brick wall. All we're doing is sitting there going round and round and round, going through every scenario, and then go back to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again. It's just all day long, that's all we're doing.
Her friends told me Nicola's partner, family and the whole community are desperate for news.
We've got a mummy missing and two little girls asking where their mummy is, and then we've got Paul being so strong for his little girls, but imagine the roller coaster he's going on. It's just heartbreaking, every type of emotion you can imagine. She's so well loved, she's just kind, beautiful inside and out. She'd do anything for anybody.
What we're holding on to is no news is good news, and we have to hold on to hope because that's what's pushing us forward at the moment. And anyone who knows Nick just knows that a family are a world, her girls are absolutely everything, and if she could be at home with her girls.
How come you don't see much emotions with most of Nicola Bulley's friends? Allegedly, no empathy, no tears. And this is right in the beginning of the search. This is for entertainment purpose only.
Like, we've said it from day one, we've all done that walk. We all walk that river. We're all mums. We all do the drop off. We all don't think that we will go and do a walk like that and not come back. So it's really, really hit all mums, all women, I would say, in the area that do that, because we've all done it and we've all managed to not fall in. We know the terrain. It's not a walk that you don't know. And so it's really unnerved people, especially with the lack of evidence.
Let me rewind this part.
How are you?
No, not at all.
Good to see you. Well, it has been like that. So you saw the phone, is that right? Yeah. You saw the phone that Friday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police with the exact time because my wife's telephone call had the time on it, so but I've given a full statement.
Was it just on the bench, or was it just on the bench?
The phone?
Yeah.
How's the last 3 weeks been?
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
And in terms of, when you saw Phone, Lead and Willow, you knew who Nicola was.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you knew Willow, that was it, wasn't it? You knew Willow.
No, I'd seen both the owners of Willow walking this dog in the past. But whilst I knew them by face, like I know your face, I didn't know the name.
But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the phone, the Lead and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I thought somebody got to the toilet in the... that would have been my first... I got about this red brick building here and I thought, this is not right. And then there was a conversation, but my wife was trying to ring me, I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife. To say that you should fasten the dog up that was...
And Penny was the lady who actually spotted Willow initially and saw the phone but didn't know what was going on with the phone.
That's right,
And then after that, what happened?
Well, it was just a progression of things happening. We found out because of the wallpaper on the phone. We found out who the couple were, then the school was contacted and Paul arrived.
Well, look, we'll let you carry on with your walk. I know you do this every morning. Nicola did this almost every morning as well.
Come home, do a bit of work. Carry on. Yeah, lunchtime, go to the gym. We're going to leave, and then the phone rang. And it was the school. And it was the receptionist of school, and she said, Mr. Ansell, it's a bit of a weird one. So it's a bit of a weird one, but we found Willow and Nicky's phone on the bench and the harness halfway down the embankment on the floor. So
you're already worried at this point.
Yeah, because I'm just about to leave, so I've got my gym.
And now you
finding this all very odd and slightly concerning because there's, as someone who used to run murder inquiries and now lectures on murder inquiries, there are 2 golden rules in any case like this. One is to respect the golden hour. The first 24 hours are absolutely crucial to a case like this. And the second is to keep an open mind. And to hear the police say that this is a tragic accident, on what we've got in the public domain at the moment, I cannot understand that statement. And at a stroke of a pen by saying that, they are reducing the publicity, they are clearly upsetting the family, who are now speaking out against them. And they are putting all the eggs in one basket, which professionally I find very odd.
And obviously the family now upset by a lot of conjecture on social media and elsewhere. You know, is there something they know they're not telling us about why they actually dismissed any kind of criminal involvement so early on?
Well, quite. And we do know from what they've told us that they have a CCTV black spot, a place where someone could have gone into that field. And we know that they've got a 10-minute window, which they can't account for. Well, you only have to look at the Julia Jones case in Kent a couple of years ago. The lady, the PCSO off-duty,
yes,
her dog was attacked.
Yeah.
That attack, less than 1 minute. A 10-minute window, you cannot rule out criminality. You cannot rule out a third party being at that location. And of course, with Sarah Payne, we had 9 different hypotheses as to what happened to that little girl. With Nicola, there's 7 different hypotheses. Only one of them is she fell in the...
Let's not forget, allegedly it took Brian Kohlberger 16 minutes to unalive 4 people. 10 minutes for one person is very possible, I do agree.
Put you to bed and give you a good night.
Behind us you can see some of the members of the community with these posters, a very clear picture of Nicola Bulley's face the day she went missing, and that number asking people to call 101.
101, yeah. Just for any information, and it is just driving that awareness that somebody might have seen her. She might not even be in St Michael's anymore, but wherever she is, just bring it. Just for any information, and it is just driving that awareness that somebody might have seen her. She might not even be in St Michael's anymore, but wherever she is, just bring it home.
Be upsetting, of course, if I let myself read it all. Don't get me wrong, I've seen some stuff. Most people have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're always going to get that 2% of people that, for whatever reason, you know, say and do not very nice things. But I don't want to give any energy to that. My energy is just finding Nikki. I read one that said the police need to look at the partner, and I'm sort of like, well, yeah, that's the first thing that they do. Like, of course it is.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew that would happen. You know, on the first day.
I said, you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that. I said to them.
I find that a very strange and weird sentence to say. Why would you say that out loud? That I knew that the police would come to check me first.
Or the dash cam footage in this time window that we're going through right now. Any other dog walkers that morning who knew what Nicola looked like, who saw her dog Willow, to come forward and just give us some detail of what happened in the 10-minute window, which has currently been unaccounted for. This is a busy dog walking area. You know, there will have been, a number of dog walkers, although, it suggested to me that it was bitterly cold that Friday morning. Yeah. There weren't perhaps as many dog walkers as you would normally suggest. It was incredibly muddy as well, but again...
She'd been on the call, I'm just trying to think what she would have been doing, She'd been on the call.
Police say, look, we've done that, we have investigated all the lines of inquiry in this area where we believe she potentially
They've searched 300 properties.
Yeah, so there's 300 properties.
They've searched one across the road 3 times, across the river rather 3 times.
You can actually see, I don't know if the camera can see it, but the abandoned property is just to our left here, Kay, and that is a property which has been searched, and police said, look, she's not in there. And anyone who's come along, and people have actually tried to break into that property, armchair detectives coming and filming on TikTok and things like that. Police have warned, stay away from that. She's not in there. Someone still owns that property.
Well, you just mentioned TikTok.
So Nicola began within hours. She was considered high risk for reasons that became clear much later. Her family clung to hope.
Obviously, my hope is that she's still out there. Something's happened, and she's, I don't know, needed to take herself off for whatever reason. And we just want a home. We need her home. Her children need a home.
Nicola's friends launched their own appeal for information, urging witnesses to come forward. A week on, police revealed their thinking.
It does remain our belief that Nicola sadly fell into the river and that this is a missing person inquiry.
There was a lot of river to search, a tidal flow 12 miles to the sea in Morecambe Bay. But there were no clues there either. The family brought in an independent specialist. He too found no sign of Nicola in a stretch of river.
I personally don't believe this should have happened. Nobody besides the police and the search team should know the information about where in the river has been checked and when the river hasn't been checked. Because Peter Folden is excellent in what he does, but he clearly said that he told Paul and Emma to be prepared, trigger warning, in case a body comes up. Just say there was a third party involved and the partner allegedly was involved. He would have had all the information of where has been checked and where hasn't been. Allegedly. This is for entertainment purpose only.
No sign of Nicola in a stretch of river he searched.
It is as though she had vanished into thin air. Like, yeah, just insane.
By then, the investigation was attracting amateur sleuths. Some of them live-streamed their own theories on social media. They had graded Nicola high risk.
As soon as she was reported missing, following the information that was provided to the police by her partner Paul, and based on a number of specific vulnerabilities that we were made aware of, Nicola was graded as high risk.
Later, police explained Nicola's vulnerability. They said she had significant struggles with alcohol brought on by the menopause. The revelation sparked.
Senior Superintendent Rebecca Smith clearly said that the information of Nicola's menopause issues and alcohol issues allegedly came from Paul. What was Paul's motive allegedly? The reason I say that is because if he wanted Nicola to be found, the mother of his children, the love of his life, he would have given all the information and all the vulnerabilities to the police in the beginning. Who had motive to see Nicola gone? Was this allegedly about money? Because I noticed change in Nicola's mortgage advisory account. I mean a Facebook account. Since September or since June last year, May last year, Nicola was trying to sell life insurance. And she's saying the purpose of life insurance is important if you have a partner and a family, so that in case something happens to you, the other person is protected. Was there a missatisfied customer? Maybe they got a package of life insurance that he didn't like, allegedly. Did somebody put up a life insurance on Nicola without her knowing it? Allegedly. Nicola said in her Facebook, her work Facebook, you can read all her posts, and you see clearly that she used to take that walk with Willow very often, and Willow used to swim. Nicola used to write everything in her Facebook, how long she trained, how happy she was. Summer holidays was over. She was looking forward to starting to work. That was on 2nd September. Her father himself said that Nicola was very satisfied at work. She was very happy. So who had motive to see Nicola gone? What happened on the 10th of January? because the welfare was called, the police was called, and the mental health team was called. I've heard mental health team and I've heard medical team. Whichever one it was, the police said in this incident no one was arrested. So we've heard of there have been several other incidents in their address. Was there DV going on? You know, I can't say the word. Was there some domestic issues going on? Why was Nicola's mortgage Facebook account silent after the 18th of January? Whatever happened to Nicola started from the 17th of July. That I 100% believe. Because whatever that welfare and that visit was about, the police had to do with whatever happened later, I believe. I don't believe Nicola had alcohol issues. I believe she drank. Yes, we've seen pictures of her drinking. But I don't believe Nicola had alcohol issues because Nicola was always training. She was out with her dog. She was doing her morning rounds. She was working. She was making good mortgage deals. She wouldn't be working with so much maths and life insurance and mortgage advising and advising for properties if she was having alcohol issues. Why would Paul let her drive the children to school if she was having alcohol issues? All those questions need to be asked. Thank you guys for being patient with me, and sorry for my shaky background, but I wanted you all to just understand that it was always a missing case, and then they made it to Nicola fell in the river. And then allegedly the timeline started changing from the river tow park to the main field and the lower field. Ron wasn't mentioned as a witness. Ron wasn't mentioned as a witness, and he should have been. He said things started progressing. I hope we get new updates. Rest in peace, Nicola Bulley. May justice be served if there was a third-party involvement. We need to find out who had motive. I believe this could be work-related, this could be money-related, this could be partner-related, allegedly. It could be related to anything. But I don't believe Nicola walked off herself from her children and from her dog. Please like, share, and subscribe.